to Hubbardston Headlines, the only short show that is all Hubbardston all the time. My name is Nate Boudreau, and I am the town administrator here in the wonderful municipality of Hubbardston, Massachusetts. This is episode number 2 of the short program that I started one episode ago entitled Hubbardston Headlines, where we are going to take a moment to overview a lot of the things that are going on in our town. There's a lot going on at night meetings that might not be received by those watching from home, but I wanted to make sure that we could get some of that out to you. Some of the things going on this week are on March 1st had our new police chief, Ryan Kuchar, begin his permanent full-time role as police chief. So if anybody at home wants to take a moment when you see him, feel free to congratulate him and wish him the best of luck. I'm hoping to get him on another show. There is a select board meeting on Monday, March 20th, and on Monday, March 6th. On the 20th, we will be doing a ceremonial swearing in of the police chief. But today, we have our first very special guest. Our first very special guest has been our town clerk since about mid-October. Her name is Kristen Foster, and she, as I just stated, is our town clerk. She is doing wonderfully, and I figure I'd have her on episode number 2 of Hubbardston Headlines to give you all a update on what to expect this fall ahead of town meeting and the town election, and some stuff that she anticipates doing during her first year as town clerk. So, Kristen, hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. We want to take a moment to tell those watching from home a little bit about yourself.
So I have lived in New England my entire life. I've been in Massachusetts for the last 12 to 13, and I am brand new to municipal government, and everyone has been very good, very patient, and very kind as I learn this new position. So
beautiful. How have your first 4 months as town clerk been?
They've been good. They've been hectic. I started about 2 weeks before a special town meeting and about 4 weeks before the state election in November. So it was kind of a trial by fire. But it's been good. You know, right now we're working on the census and dog licensing, and there's a lot to learn and so much more to it than I realized. But I've had some wonderful help, and it's been a good 4 months.
Perfect. What are you looking forward to accomplishing in your first full year as Hubbardston Town Clerk?
I'm honestly looking forward to just understanding my job better. I've never been that person who enjoyed the learning part so much as I enjoyed actually knowing the job, being comfortable with it, and then seeing how I could do it better. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to getting past all the firsts.
Same. And you're in wonderful company, as you know. There's been a large amount of turnover in town. There's a good amount of employees going through their first town meeting and their first budget right there with you, so you're not alone, and we've all got each other's backs, and I know so do the volunteers and residents at home. Right. So we're really in a good spot. Town meeting and elections have taken some tech advancements over the last couple years. Could you take a moment to describe to those at home some of the new things that they may see at town meeting and town election and how those may impact their experience?
So, again, having little to no experience and a very quick experience with the election and special town meeting, one of the things that I didn't realize existed upon that first experience was the use of poll pads. I have come from towns where, you know, you walk in to vote and they have the book spread out and they look for your name and they check you off. Where poll pads, you know, people come in with their license, or just give their name and address, and you look them up on the spot, and it checks them off the list. And I think it's a great way to be able to keep track of who has voted. I imagine it helps helps with, like, voter fraud. No one's going to try to vote in your place, and I think that's a very, very cool piece of technology.
It's absolutely cool. And from an administrative standpoint, it also cuts down on the time that your office needs to spend putting these books together and scanning them in, because with the click of a button you can import your voter files, and with the click of a button you can get them back out, and they operate on a completely secured network that does not attach to the internet for those that are worried about fraudulent behavior or your information being shared. These poll pads are 100% secure. They are backed by the company we purchased them from, and they are an absolute asset to election management and election technology moving forward. It's a really cool device that I'm happy the town of Hubbardston gets to implement. It was Kristen's predecessor that I believe purchased it, partially with grant funding right after the COVID pandemic came to a close. Well, not close, but yeah, right after the COVID pandemic in 2021. So that's something I look forward to using and working with Kristen to make sure that we can modernize and make sure that voting is accessible and easy and something that everyone can do every time. So that's about it with that. If anyone at home has any questions about the poll pads or elections or any sort of technology that may be implemented either here or in another community, feel free to stop by the town clerk's office and you can take a look at them or look through a manual or something like that. With the town election that will be here before you know it, it'll be important to understand what you're walking into. All right. You noted that you started 2 weeks before the 2022 state election. How was that?
Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
Joyce Green, who was the town clerk here for, I believe it was 13 years, she came out of retirement to help me through this election, and she was a lifesaver, as were all the poll workers that have been doing this for years and were so knowledgeable, and I think they kept me sane all day.
Perfect. Did you run into anything that you weren't expecting to be part of an election?
Not real. I mean, there was a lot to it. I went into it not knowing initially what absentee ballots were or what provisional ballots were, and it was a huge learning experience, but it was good.
Absolutely. As a former town clerk myself, I don't think people understand the amount of preparation and work that goes into hosting these elections. They don't just happen. It's done by volunteers and by municipal workers and with assistance from the state, and it's a lot of work, and especially with mail-in voting and those types of new initiatives that are expanding access to the ballot, that is being taken on by an already overworked election staff in most communities. And the smaller and more rural these communities get, the less election staff they're going to have, and the more people that are not going to be available to help push out these very, very important civic processes. So that is, I'm very, very grateful that our whole region has town clerks and election staff willing to take the time out of their busy life to ensure that such an important process is done and done very well, including Kristen, because she did a great job in her first election here, and it was really down to the wire at the last minute that she came in. So she probably easily could have said, hey, you know what, I'll start after. But nope, she came in, She rolled up her sleeves and she got that election done. Special thank you again to former Clerk Green for helping us out with all of that. It is greatly appreciated. Speaking of mail-in ballots, though, a lot of people have been talking about mail-in voting. How did it impact the state election, and what can voters anticipate regarding mail-ins for town elections?
So this I may need your help on because, again, having it be my first experience, I had nothing to compare it to. And mail-in voting wasn't even something that I had done even before. So honestly, I'm not entirely certain how to answer that.
Right.
I apologize.
Not a problem at all. But that is something you should be looking forward to. There will be mail-in options with the town election. We'll put that information out on the town website, and you can obtain information on mail-in and absentee voting from the office of the town clerk. News on that should be available in April. It's all fairly new, so please hang with us while we figure this out and get out the wrinkles. So, Kristen, this is a very important time of year for your office. Is there anything people should know that's coming ahead this spring?
So right now we're in the heart of the census. So second mailings are actually going to be going out probably on Monday. They're almost all set and ready to go. Just as many people that can respond. It's always very helpful. Dog licenses are due by April 1st. Late fees will be implemented as of May 1st, and that's an additional $25.
$25.
Yeah. So to avoid that late fee, come on in, get those dog licenses. And then we have our political calendar in place. March 27th, the nomination papers for the upcoming town election in June will be available to anyone who wants to come out. We have a number of positions available, and we have that up on our website as well. I didn't know if you wanted me to read through these.
No, people, check out the town website. There is a large amount of very pertinent information.
That's very true. That's very true. So, but just keep those dates in mind. We have March 27th for the nomination papers. The annual town meeting will be on June 6th, and the annual town election on June 13th.
Beautiful. And to piggyback on that, just remember how important it is to run for office. Take the opportunity to look at what seats are available. These are volunteer positions, but they truly impact your life. These are decisions that get made about Hubbardston. So make sure to log on to the website or stop by Kristen's office to see what is available and what the different opportunities may entail. The more the merrier. So with that, I'm going to close out our second episode of Hubbardston Headlines. I would like to thank Town Clerk Kristen Foster for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. If anyone at home has an idea for someone we should bring on here or somewhere we should go, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is on the town website, and I will make sure that it is put on this video as well. Again, this spring is going to be very, very busy with town meeting and town elections, and there will be a budget presentation on March 20th by myself. I will make sure to put together an episode of Hubbardston Headlines regarding the budget so that you at home will understand what's going on as it's happening. But once again, I would like to thank you and have a good night.
Good night.